Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode. So today we're going to talk about Protection Warrior in PvE. How do you set up the stats, how do you set up the talents, and what kind of rotation are you going to use? Is it more important to use shield block, or well, is it more important to use ignore pain on your rage? So if you have a lot of questions about Protection Warrior, well, welcome to this guide, and I will try to guide you through how you actually play Protection Warrior. So first of all, let's go through the stats. So normally in my videos I always say the major stat, like strength, is the best one. So you have strength, you have stamina, and you have your armor. But actually the most important for Protection Warriors is actually haste, because more haste means more rage, it means more defense. And that means you can actually have up more shield blocks and more ignore pains up because of haste. So if you get an item where you can actually put a socket in, you would put in a haste socket. If you get a trinket where you can choose between strange or haste, you would take haste. So haste is number one. After haste, it's armor. So I know that you normally can't choose between armor, but again, if you have a trinket or gem or anything that gives you armor, well, first haste, then armor, and then after armor it's actually versatility. So versatility is increasing your damage and of course your self-healing. It will also help you with the output of ignore pain. So that can be useful. And I probably say, what about my mastery? Isn't it really that good? But no, your mastery isn't actually that super good. It's not the best stat for Protection Warrior. So again, haste, armor, versatility, mastery. Then it's crit, and the last one is strength. Strength. I hate that word. So that's how the rotation is lying. But again, try to get all the haste you can. Just stack up the haste, because the more haste, the more rage, the more defense you have. Yeah, and of course also haste lowers the cooldown on your small simply spells you're using in rotation, as for example Shield Slam, Thunderclap. It's pretty good. So that was the stats. Now the talents. So let's go through the first row. So the first row here, Into the Fray, is actually dominating so much here because it gives you haste. You gain 3 haste for each enemy or ally within 10 yards, up to 15 haste. That means you'll get a lot of haste. And again, as I just said, haste is so much important for you. So Into the Fray is just a unique talent that will help you in any way. Punish, well, it increases the damage of your Shield Slam, and it gives the reduce 3% of damage you receive from that monster. So a boss in particular would always deal 3% less damage to you. But the bonus you get from Into the Fray, for all the haste you get, the more shield block you're going to get and ignore pain, it's not really worth to have punish. I would say Into the Fray is the meta. Impending Victory is not needed because you should not focus on self-healing as a Protection Warrior. The next one here is really depending on situation. There's nothing here that is really the good one, because Bounding Stride is actually great for jumping around more quicker, less cooldown on Heroic Leap, and also increase your movement speed. Crackling Thunder, well, it increases the yards of how far your Thunderclap is working. So my favorite one is Crackling Thunder, because I can then use my Thunderclap to reach a much bigger area. So that means it's easier for me to hold mobs in dungeons. And Safeguard is a kind of interesting thing, because I don't know why a tank would transfer any damage from anyone to yourself. So I would probably say Crackling Thunder, and Into the Fray is my favorite one, and Into the Fray is like a meta. The next one here, Dragon Roar and Best Serve Cold, is not really... Best Serve Cold is not really good because you should only use Revenge when it's free. You should never use Revenge when it costs rage, because you're going to focus so much on holding up shield block and ignore pain that you will not really waste rage on revenge. But every time you successfully dodge and parry, your revenge will be free, so then you can use it. But so never go really with Berserk Cold. Dragon Roar is a fine cooldown, but in overall Unstoppable Force it's much more better. Because Unstoppable Force, what it does is when you use Avatar, it increases the damage, well, increase the damage by 100% and reduce its cooldown. So that means I can use my Thunderclap every 2.5 seconds. I mean, that's pretty insane. So Dragon Roar can be used every half minute, but now I can just spam Thunderclap and hold a lot of mobs and deal so much damage. It's really insane. So Unstoppable Force, meter 100%. So the next down here, Never Surrender, is not really good because Ignore Pain, well, that's a little fact that I wanted to talk about later, but you actually want to use more shield blocks than Ignore Pain, because Ignore Pain is a flat number that just reduces damage by 200,000, 20,000. But shield block is actually percentage blocking more damage than Ignore Pain. So you don't really want to increase Ignore Pain. You actually want to have Last Stand, because normally Last Stand has 3-minute cooldown, but with Bolster it only have 2-minute cooldown, and it additionally causes you to block all melee attacks. That means while you actually have Last Stand up, you also have a shield block up on the same time. So that means you could basically use Last Stand, and then after Last Stand is done, then you have enough energy to actually use shield block for a good amount of time. It's pretty good. I mean, that's really good. But if you don't want this one here, Indomitable, for the name, is also actually great. You increase your maximum health by 10, but it's only good if you really need more raw health. So if you're kind of, let's say, wiping all the time and the healer says, oh, if you just had 10% more alive, I would have saved you, then it can be good. And overall, passively, it's great because it gives you more health, and you can probably have more health than the other tank, so you kind of look like the best tank because you have most health. But in effectiveness, if you use Last Stand correct, Bolster will probably be the best one. But personally myself, I like to use Indomitable because it gives me more HP and I look more badass. So the next one down here is again also up to you. If you want to have a ranged stun, if you want to have, well, your fear you have, it's changed. So Indebiting Shout to stun enemies can additional fear for 4 seconds, and it causes enemies to cover and fear instead of fleeing. So that means instead of they will run around, they will actually just stay in the same place and just stay in the same place. So I mean, it's fine. Normally it's 8 seconds and then it's plus 4 seconds, so it's 12 seconds. But personally I like this one here. When Shockwave strikes at least 3 targets, its cooldown is reduced by 15. So that means it will go down to 25. That's pretty low cooldown for AoE stun. So I like this one here. Definitely. The next row down here, Booming Voice, is, I would say, 100% must, because you can actually use now, because of Booming Voice, well, Demolition Shout also generates 40 rage and increases the damage you deal to the affected targets. So that means I can use Demolition Shout, and then I can use a shield block. And we have a shield block where my block chance is increased by 100. I mean, that's a pretty good start to starting a fight, where you can always already start with shield block on, and you're dealing more damage to the enemy. So Vengeance is not, it's a weird one. It's not really used because you don't want really to use Revenge, and you don't really want to use Ignore Pain. Well, you want to use Ignore Pain, don't misunderstand that, but you actually want in most cases to have a shield block up, because shield block is personally decreasing more damage. So, and Revenge, you don't really want to waste rage on Revenge unless it's free. So it's a kind of 2 funny spells you kind of buffing. And Devastator is not worth at all, because Booming Voice is so much more effectiveness. So Booming Voice, go with it. The last row down here, I could just say quickly, Ancient Management is the best one. because every 10 rage you spend, you reduce the remaining cooldown on Avatar, Last Stand, Shield Wall, Demolition Shout. So that means every time I use rage on Shield Block or Ignore Pain, it reduces the cooldown on basically all my cooldowns. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's basically all the cooldowns that you use that would be, well, lowered. That means you can use more Demolition Shout, you can use more Avatar, wasn't Avatar in it? Yeah. You can use more Last Stand wasn't in, and you can use more Shield Wall. So basically you have much more cooldowns to use. Yeah. I hate these warriors' name. Heavy Repercussions. Shield Slam extends the duration of Shield Block by 1 second, and Shield Block is increased the damage of Shield Slam by additional 30%. It's like when you have Shield Block up, you're lucky to use 2 times Shield Slam, so it's maybe increasing the duration of it by 2 seconds, but it's not really worth. Ravager is pure, I would say, damage. Well, it also increases your parry chance, but it's not a worth cooldown to take. Maybe if you are in a mythic dungeon and you want to be able to hold more trash mobs, dealing more damage to trash mobs, it can be good, but nah. So this build I'm having right now on the screen, oh, like this. So this build here looks like a pattern. So this pattern build I have right now is the meta primary build to play, I would say, in dungeons and raids. But personally myself, I like to have Indomitable because I like to have more HP and look better. So this is the talents. Boom. So the rotation, well, a tank rotation isn't really, it's not like a DPS rotation where you have to talk about it much. But a tank rotation is, of course, it's not about dealing most damage in the group, it's about surviving. Because you want to survive and the healer wants you to take less damage. So, because if you don't play this warrior correct, then the healers will have trouble healing you. Just a notice, you probably see in raids and mythic dungeons right now, there's not many protection warriors and guardian druids, because they are kind of not as good as brewmaster monks and blood death knights. But Iron from Blizzard said that protection warrior will get a huge change in 8.1. So if you like your protection warrior, stay on him. He will be saved in next patch that will probably hit us next week, not next week, next month. So again, back to rotation. So the first thing you will try to start with is, of course, using your intercept. It deals damage and generate 30 rage. After that, you can see I'm just auto-attacking. That also means the more haste I have, the more auto-attacks we're going to deal, so the more rage I'm getting. So your primary thing you should try to get is holding up shield block, because shield block, well, you can see here, if you go in here, they are blocking reduce damage of an attack by 30%. That's pretty much. So now you're going to block every attack. That means you will be getting 30% less damage, but also you have your armor that is physical damage reduction by 49. So those two on top of each other is great. So your primary mission is to keep up shield block. Just keep up that shield block. And remember, when you have shield block up, you deal, actually, you can see here, increase shield slam damage by 30. So that means, let's get some rage, so we can get, so now I can use shield block, and then I can use shield slam, and then increase damage by 30, and then I use thunderclap, and it resets the shield slam again. So every time you use thunderclap, you actually have a chance to reset shield slam. So again, the first thing you would do is charge, get some rage, shield block, shield slam, and try hold up the shield block, and use shield slam every time you can. So important is, of course, also you use Devastate one time, because Devastate is dealing, you can see here, deep wound. So Devastate or Revenge is actually dealing a bleeding. That's pretty cool. So if you don't take a lot of damage, you can actually use Revenge on a big trash mob group, because it will make them all bleed. But if you're taking high damage, don't spend rage on Revenge, because you want to use the rage on shield block and ignore pain. So let's just talk about shield block and ignore pain. So the main thing is, of course, if you're versus a boss that doesn't deal any physical damage and he's only casting spells, then of course you will not use shield block. But if it's a standard boss who actually deals damage attacking normal attacks, then shield block is the best one that is reducing most damage. But of course, if it's a boss that casts spells and do a lot of mystery spells, then ignore pain is of course the best one. But the problem with ignore pain is that it's, you can say, it's a flat number, so ignoring 50% of the damage taken, preventing 20,000. So you would 100% use shield block, try to hold that up, but in a boss fight where you don't really, you can say, need physical block chance, then you want to use ignore pain. Yeah. So try to hold up shield block as much as you can, then your healer will 100% appreciate you. And keep in mind that shield slam is generating 15 rage, thunderclap is generating 5 rage, and your charge is generating 30 rage. So you can basically use shield block, heroic leap away, charge again, and you have a new shield block up. And remember to use the shield slam. And now you can see my shield block is actually on cooldown, so I would use ignore pain and just follow the rotation. I would say it's pretty easy because you have 3 damage abilities you're using: Devastate, Shield Slam, Thunderclap. And you just go through them and try to hold up as much shield block you can, and use ignore pain when shield block is on cooldown. And of course, again, if the boss is not dealing physical damage and it's only spells, then use ignore pain instead. So also you can actually start a fight by charging, using Demolition Shout, shield block, shield slam for example. Now I have 80 rage, that means I can use 2 times shield block, and I now have shield block for 10 seconds. So now I'm pretty much, you can see, saved the next 10 seconds, and I have a lot of rage when it's finished soon. You can see as soon as it's off, and now I can use ignore pain, and now my shield block is ready. So just try to hold up shield block all the time. When you cannot use shield block, use ignore pain in that free time space, and then when shield block is ready again, use it. And remember, if you're playing with these talents, booming voice, use Demolition Shout, because it reduces damage they deal to you by 20, it increases damage deals them by 15, and it gives you, how much was it? 40 rage. Also remember this one here, Unstoppable Force. When you use Avatar that increases the damage by 20 you're dealing, my Thunderclap basically doesn't have any cooldown, it's only 2.5 seconds, so now I can basically just running around with Trash Mob and keeping them all. Your revenge spell, remember that every time you successfully dodge or parry, it will be free of cost and you can actually use it. So that means revenge would actually be a spell you're going to use a lot, but only use it when it's free, or if you don't take any damage, you can say, not any high damage, and you just want some extra damage and threat generation. But I would say on a normal boss fight, never use revenge to use rage, because it's basically eating up your rage. So again, rage, probably start also with a Devastate, because then you already have your bleeding on him. And now shield block for example, shield slam, so it increases damage, and yeah, use your 3. You have only 3 damage abilities. Of course revenge, but only use it when it's free. And now ignore pain, and boom boom boom. You also have shield wall that reduce all damage by 40. Use it when you know that right now I'm going to get a high damage, the boss is going to give me some kind of damage that will be very high. Then use your shield wall. And last stand, well, it increases your maximum health by 30, and it instantly also heals you for that. So it's kind of also self-healing to you, because it's giving you 30% health and it's also healing you the 30% health, so you get actually more healing. And if you play with bolster that is recommended, it only has it only has 2 minute cooldown, and it also uses a shield block for 15 seconds. So 15 seconds while it's active, it's blocking all attacks so you don't really have to use shield block in that time. You can basically get some rage, and when last stand is finished, well, then you can use shield block now. So for holding up shield blocks or blocks, bolster is actually pretty great. So, and also remember, you're playing with Ancient Management, then every time you use Rage on Shield Block or Ignore Pain, it reduces the cooldown of Shield Wall, Last Stand, Avatar, Demolition Shot. So again, from taking it from scratch, charge the target, use Devastate to apply a debuff. Now use your Shield Block, use Shield Slam while Shield Block is on, use Thunderclap to generate, use Shield Slam for generate, use Shield Block again, try to hold Shield Block up as long as you can, generate some more rage. Oh no, Shield Block is not ready to use Ignore Pain. Okay, increase some rage, we need some rage, because we need rage. Shield Block is up, use Shield Block. And also again, remember to use your Demolition Shout because it gives you 40 rage. So that's pretty much Protection Warrior. I hope you enjoyed this guide. And of course, well, leave down a comment if you have any questions or if you have anything. Or you have any questions for Ignore Pain or Shield Block, but it's basically more that. I mean, if you think Ignore Pain is better than Shield Block, why do you think they only gave us 2 Shield Blocks, 2 charges of Shield Block and a high cooldown, and Ignore Pain is a spell you just can use all the time? If Ignore Pain was really better than Shield Block, I guess Ignore Pain will have a cooldown on it, but you can actually use Ignore Pain all the time. So Shield Block is the meta spell you want to hold up all the time, and when you cannot hold Shield Block because it's on cooldown, use Ignore Pain as a filler. But again, as you can see, this rotation, it's a bit, I would say it's a bit weird, because Brewmaster Monks, Blood Death Knights, Guardian Druids has a lot of more smooth rotation, and Iron also said in the last interview that Protection Warriors has a very weird rotation. They want to make it more smooth, so expect in this next patch that Protection Warriors will be much more fun to play. Yeah. So thanks you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this guide. If you have any questions, leave down a comment. Else, I can just say thank you for watching and have a great day.